The meaningful part of this journey is going through the growing pains. When we first bought the land, it was raw and wild, but we realized the nicest part of it was the morning. It took us almost 2 years to rehabilitate the land to get it to its lush greenness that you see now. One of the visions that I had was to build a self-sustaining resort, totally sustainable, off the grid, having its own electricity, having its own water supply, and another big part of it would be that there would be a safari. But not everything followed as planned. We realized that whatever animals we brought in either escaped, died, or got eaten up. But like the morning, we find that there are new surprises every time we wake up. Even though we could not build our own safari, we could find our own safari if we just paid attention. Nature itself, once we rehabilitated the land, brought in the animals we wanted to see roaming free. We had monitor lizards, which was a predator. Well, when we walked in the river, we found soft-shelled terrapins, which was quite a nice surprise. Sometimes we even see a little harmless water snake catching a fish. And all this if we just pay attention. One of the nicest surprises was that we found some resident hornbills. We would wake up in the morning in the brick house and we would look outside and we'd see them sitting on our railings. One time, we even had Egyptian geese flying in. And this was a really interesting surprise because these geese were not supposed to be flying along this route at all. But well, when you have the place ready, these animals do come by. One of the more interesting ones are wild mushrooms. As we walk along the land, we see a lot of mushrooms, but we had a challenge. Were they edible or not? And as we were asking this question, our cook, Auntie Wong, taught us how to identify them. And for her, it's very simple. Just pluck it, bring it back. She'll cook it in ginger. If the ginger turns black, it's poisonous. Otherwise, we can eat it. There would be constant surprises each morning. Whether it's hornbills sitting on the railing outside your room, or little ducklings that you see for the first time swimming on the pond. One time we brought in some rabbits, but within a week, they all escaped from the coop that we kept them in. Surprise, surprise, after a month, we saw little white bunnies running around the whole place. After the initial startup stage, we thought things would begin to settle down. But much like the noonday sun, things were quite challenging. Once we settled into the calm laziness of the afternoon heat, we suddenly realized that there were so many things that were unpredictable. And one of the challenges that we faced was when we encountered El Nino. That was a bad year. Everything that we had planned for, everything that we had experienced did not prepare us for this particular weather phenomenon. Our river, the pride of the land, dried up. The ponds began to dry up. As we all know, water is the sustainer of all life. Without it, things begin to wither and die. All around us, the other orchards had blooming durians, full of fruits on their trees because in order to counter this phenomenon, they pumped in more fertilizer. But we had a plan for this land, that we wanted our fruits to be organic. And we wanted to maintain and sustain it in that manner. And like everything else, all our challenges that we faced so far, things began to take a turn for the better. When we thought all hope was lost, suddenly the rains came back. Even the hornbills left us, and we thought that was the end. But the saddest moment was when we found our tualang tree dead. We called this the miracle tree earlier because it was struck by lightning during the rainy weather before the El Nino. And at that time, we thought it was dead. But a few months later, surprisingly, we saw new shoots growing up from that tree. But I think El Nino proved a bit too much because now it was truly dead. And just when we thought we have done it all and been through it all, something new would come up. But team spirit, individual proactiveness, great employees, and of course God helped us through these trying periods. Sunsets in 8 acres is always beautiful, calming, reflective. The death of the tualang really woke me up. I had looked to it for inspiration, this giant tree that seemed to be invincible. But at the end of it, God dictates. Reflecting back, I was wondering what's next. And I realized this sustainable journey of ours had to be shared with others. We began to share about our organic plantings, our renewable energy, and serving organic food to our guests. Nighttime in 8 acres is cooling. It brings with it a lower temperature and it has its own beauty. But it also provides a sense of mystery. In order for us to go through the night, we rely so much on our experience gained throughout the day, gained throughout the years, to encounter challenges that may spring up at any moment. A snake crawling into the hall, or even insects that suddenly swarm up in the middle of the room. But through it all, having said that, I realized that there must be a purpose for us to be in this land. Because every time we encounter a challenge, there would be a solution, no matter how improbable it seems. Bit by bit, the vision for the land is taking place. When the river dried up, it made me feel so defeated, something that was beyond our control and so significant to the survival of the land. But when rain came at our lowest moment, it gave us new hope. That when things are at its worst, we just have to have faith. Like day and night, joy and despair will always be a part of this land. But I know with our experience and faith, it will always work out for the best. And the most meaningful part of this journey is to be able to share it with you.